It's never too late. It's never too late to find your purpose. It's never too late to do things that makes you happy. And that is also part of my story. So I would say, let's, you don't have to push, just leave it. It's not a problem. Teens creating their futures. I want to take you on a story and just tell you the story, how it happened, why it happened. And so that you know who is talking to you. My name is Roger Zimmerman. And I'm born in the United States. You may hear that. I'm born in Norwalk, Connecticut, which is up here. And for those that don't know Norwalk, New York City is about 45 minutes north of, south of Norwalk. And I was 2 years old when my parents decided to come back to Europe. Because my father is born in Cologne, in Köln. And my mother, elle est née à Paris, Elisabeth. Et c'est pour ça, si vous voulez, on peut faire ça en français, pas de problème. So you heard New York, Norwalk, New York, you heard Paris, and Karlsruhe. For the last, I was 2 years old when I got here, and ever since we've been here. Went back for college in the United States, in New Haven, Connecticut, and came back, and I've been living here ever since. And I think it's also important to know that I'm married to the same woman for this year. It's going to be 33 years. So that's also very important. And by the way, which city is this? Come on. Lisbon. Very good. And the good thing is we're parents of two wonderful kids. And when we talk about courage, Melissa on the left here, my daughter, worked for SAP for 3.5 years, was in a super position, a lot of plans, when she then said, it's too early for me. Courage, purpose. And she decided to leave to the United States. This was 4.5 years ago. And now she's going on her 5th year. She's working and living in the United States. Father back then was like, oh my God. But she's got the entrepreneurship a little bit from me, I would say. And it's wonderful. And my son, Robin, is married now. And he's living in Eppingen, not too far from here. And working also in Stuttgart, in Witzemann. They have their office over there. And very interesting because they're creating a Christian Bible game. So that is a very interesting concept, definitely. So the story is important because my story is that I've been in sales for a long time. It was like 1991, 92 when I got into sales, and ever since, and it was very important for me to really get out there in the trenches, because before I was able to take over and train people on how to sell, the Vertriebsteam, like we say in German, it was important to go through those stages. And while I was doing that, I was always in front of people, like now. Well, the stages got bigger. And as you can see, when I was 50 years old, when I turned 50, which is now 7 years ago, I made a decision. Courage. It was time for me to burn the bridges and to go new ways. And the new way was to become a host, a master of ceremony, because that was always something that I loved to do. So companies booked me. Companies have booked me in a lot of conferences and a lot of fairs, messen. And this is where the story began, because most of these fairs were HR-oriented fairs. And it was in the year 2017 at the Hannover Industriemesse where I was on stage for 5 days, and I was introducing CEOs and also HR directors, and all they kept talking about was that the digitized era is completely changing the way we live and is also changing the future of work. So here I am listening to them one after the other. They're all talking about the same thing. They're all talking about augmented reality, virtual reality technology, artificial intelligence. They're talking about robotics. They're talking about algorithms, new work, apps, Internet of Things, and that these things are changing everything. And here I am listening to them and agreeing, and everybody's agreeing, and basically what they're saying is that the job descriptions are changing completely. Then they're also mentioning that established jobs are disappearing. And I could ask questions here. It's easy to find out which jobs. It's always big question marks, but it's happening. So here I am standing there listening to this, and what they're also saying is the good news is that new jobs are emerging. But what they are definitely talking about is that new skills are needed for these jobs. And you hear it every day when they're talking about skills like creativity, entrepreneurship, innovation, and especially problem solvers. Immer mehr, more and more problem solvers are needed. So here I am standing, listening to this, and basically also hearing that the companies are having great challenges to really teach the skills. I mean, SAP is definitely way ahead, but a lot of companies have not even begun. And that is a big problem. Okay, that is the situation. That's the situation. And I was standing there back then, and it did click. And I said, who, by the way, is preparing the Generation Z for this new world? The kids. And by the way, the first generation of digital natives. They don't know anything else in reference to, technology is everything for them. Who is preparing them for that? And that was the moment, back in April 2017, where I said, wait a second, let me check out the market, let me see what's happening. And once it's clear, the school system, we all agree, is not preparing them for that. And they have their challenges. And I'm not here to say, bad school system. We know that if we would put teachers together in one room, and they would have to create a new system, it would not look like it looked the last 60 years. They all agree, but they have their plan, they have to use it. So we started thinking, when I say we, my colleague and me, and I'll talk to him, I'll tell you in a second who that is, but the question was also, with which methods can we work with these kids? How can we teach them these skills? So basically, we decided to use the startup methods, because startup methods, we heard it, MVP, prototyping, design thinking. It's cool. It's do it. Just wir machen. Let's do it. We have to go back. Let's make mistakes. Let's just go. Let's go. And we thought, man, that would be a good method to teach kids, to work with kids. So basically, we combine the startup methods, the startup world, with the Generation Z. And ladies and gentlemen, what we have found out since we've started this is amazing ideas what then exist. But I want to make one important point here. When we do this, it has nothing to do with creating a startup. We are changing the mindset. We're preparing them for this future. Now, the kids themselves, there are ideas, and we've now had over 40 events in the last 14, 15 months. One event after the other. Over 160, 170 ideas, and amazing ideas. I'll tell you later about these ideas, definitely. But basically, my colleague is Michael Echtler from Stuttgart. He is a startup expert. He's a speaker when it comes to that out from Stuttgart. And we decided to try this out and see what happens. So basically what we do is we started off with Generation Z startup weekends. And you know the startup weekends maybe for students, for adults. They come on a Friday evening, they pitch an idea, teams are put together until Sunday they work together, then there's some judges, and then they pitch 3 minutes. We said, why don't we do this with kids? So we started in February 2018 with our first one in Stuttgart. We had 15 kids. In March in Karlsruhe, we had 75 kids. There they are. We realized, by the way, that was too much. Too many kids. So we basically were around 40 to 50 kids maximum when we do these events. We started to do these events, and then what happened was they come together, and we thought, okay, we're going to tell them, do you have an idea? Do you have a problem you'd like to solve? we have to do a workshop, maybe ideation workshop. No. You just tell these kids, you prepare them and tell them, come by, is there something bothering you? And suddenly you have 10, 15 kids standing here from 10 years old, 12 years old, 14, 15, 16, and 17, standing up there. A girl, 13 years old, says, I open up the closet in the morning, I don't know what to wear. I'd like to solve that problem. You have another 13-year-old girl that says, I'd like to, I go into the Drogeriemärkte and all I see is plastic for the toothbrush, where you put the toothbrush in. And I'd like to change that. And I'll tell you more about her later. And we form teams, 5 to 10 teams. We work together with them, with the design methods, with design thinking, with the methods. And the most important thing is we always have mentors there. Mentors out of the startup scene. People, they don't have to only be out of the startup scene, people that just want to help. And we have 2 over here, Mirja and Anton. They can tell you a lot about that. They're one of our greatest mentors, basically. And what we do is they create prototypes, MVPs. And on Sunday, when it's time to pitch, they're ready. And here's Mirja with Valeria, the young girl that decided she wants to change the world of plastic when it comes to toothbrushes. I'd like to tell the story right now because I don't have that much time. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Valeria will, in April, Sony asked to tape her for Shark Tank, for Höhle der Löwen. A Sondersendung. So there's things happening. It's great to see. That is not our main goal, but it's amazing what can happen. Basically, our mentors play a big role. Then on Sunday, they pitch, and it's amazing what happens when you see that. Because we have judges, of course, that are there, and what do? They present what is the problem, what is the solution, and how does the solution work in 3 minutes. And it's amazing when you see the parents, and they're like, is this my kid? It's an awesome feeling to see what happens. And we have judges, and we have very serious judges here, like Katrin over here, standing here. She was in Karlsruhe there, and it's always amazing for the judges also to see what happens. Well, the story continues. Those are the weekends. We suddenly got approached by schools. Schools said, hey, could you come and do a workshop? Could you do a half a day with a class? Well, right now we had about 20 schools that we've already visited and done these type of design-a-thons, we call it. It's a mini weekend. With the goal again, and the fantastic thing about the schools is you have a whole class, and it's not that they want to be there, they have to be there. And what's incredible is at the end of the day how the teachers say, I've never seen all the kids work for 6-7 hours. All of them. And I've never seen this person talk that much. He's creative like crazy. So you just have to trigger the right buttons, touch the right buttons, and things happen. We are now in a situation that we have companies. The corporate world has approached us. Fairs and Messen. We have the Meet Convention, you may know, that took place. South by Southwest in Frankfurt invited us with kids to be there. We have SAP Next Gen. We had 4 days in November it was, where we worked with the kids together. And we have a new program is that we were approached by companies with their students and their Auszubildende, or their apprentice kids. That is, I'm hurrying up, of course. And we decided to create our NGO in March of this year, of 2019. We are an NGO. Even though what we're going to do, we have 5 founders now. And we're going to create at one point a GmbH in the next couple of weeks, because the corporate side has to run over a GmbH and not over an NGO in that case. So we're really taking care of all the sides. So basically, if anybody's here that wants to help us, we have a foundation that is helping us. We're looking for foundations. We're looking for corporates to help us. We're looking for mentors, people that want to work with kids. Feel free to ask me, okay? Thank you very much.